God, we give you thanks for this day, this time to gather as a team of people, diverse backgrounds and interest in what we do as a church. And I pray that tonight that you would just continue to unify us, to remind us of the diversity of this body of Christ, this body of believers and the gifts that you've given each of us, and help us be reminded of the goodness of who we are because of you as we build your kingdom together. Amen.
Okay. I really don't want to use the microphone, but Devin's making me. So, we need to approve the church council minutes from March 24th. Does everyone have a copy? They were over where you signed in. I'll give you a second to look over those.
I make a motion that we approve.
Do we have a second for approval?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Devin, it's you.
Sure.
Visioning.
Yep.
With you.
Great. So just to kind of open us up with a little kind of devotion, we've been talking about visioning obviously for a while, and as a staff, we've been going through a book called Visioneering written by Andy Stanley. And in the book, he talks a little bit about growing up and spending some time on the lake with his family, oftentimes not seeing a single living soul, but there was a kind of this pretty intense undertow in the water. And so in order to keep the kids safe, his parents, they would stack coconuts on the beach. And the idea was if you found yourself veering off too far, you had to come back up onto the shore and get back to where the coconuts are. And when we think about our vision, our values, in a sense they function as these coconuts on the beach that keep us sort of in line with what it is that we believe that God is leading us to do, these parameters. In your packet you'll find the vision that we kind of keep as a reminder, but also on the back of that you'll find our values. So there's values and there's vision. There's values, which our values are built on trust, that we trust each other enough to be real, which leads to conflict. Now you have two choices. You can have healthy conflict or you can have unhealthy conflict. Nobody likes conflict, but there's no choice in whether or not you're going to avoid conflict. It's either good or bad, which in the end leads to commitment. The idea that hopefully we can leave this meeting and we may not all agree, we may have conflict about things, but we can have each other's back and not have meetings after the meeting. So when we do have those meetings after the meeting, then we hold each other accountable and say, hey, we're on the same team here, so, get on the same team, get in line with these coconuts that we've lined up, so that we can lead eventually to the results, which is the kingdom building mindset, which leads us into this mindset of our vision. Our vision is what? To see, study, serve, share, send. Good job, guys. Now, we got to talk a little bit about, I want to spend just a little bit of time at your tables. I gave you note cards in case you got the chance to do this exercise with your small groups, as I asked you to do at the previous church council. You get extra points for that. So if you'll remember, I asked you to, with your small groups, to talk about what are the top 2 that your small groups believe is their strengths with the see, serve, all of that stuff. Okay? So if you'll take a moment at your tables, talk about that. And if you want, on your note cards, just write down the top 2 of your small group. And if you didn't do that exercise with your small group, maybe you could just kind of guess based on what you know about the people in your group. Okay? Hopefully the people in your group aren't sitting at your table. and go.
Can we write it somewhere? That's what our note card is.
That's what our note
Well, it's see, study, share for me. Yeah. I mean,
over the trustees, right? Tell me your name.
Bill.
I'm Anna.
Gregory.
Nice to meet you. I've seen you. I was gonna say, I've
Yes.
seen you. Church.
Church. Mine is, it's church thing. Every time I walk to the church, all I do, because of trusting, is that service sort of recorded, but it's see. I have to look all the time, so I'm seeing. So yeah, that's serving, but it's to me it's also see. And then it is studies from it, and then turn back around and share it with whoever I need to share it with, and get it back, whatever that is. I'm sorry. It's just, yeah. That's me. Our friend is.
If you're finished writing yours down, would you just hold it in the air so I can come by and steal it from you? Great.
Wrong color note card. Oh, that's an orange, you can't. Not quite the right. Perfect. Anyway.
I put down servant C, so why don't you? Here.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Or do we hold it to come up with one?
Okay, anybody else? You guys got yours figured out? All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right, you're good. I'm gonna
Oh,
take
you're
you
good,
on.
you have to go now.
All right, now we will do reports of the committees, staff parish, SPRC, Mr. Marcus.
Once again, I'll be filling in for Jessica.
You always do.
I know,
You're always here.
but it is a good thing that we have young people that are chairs of this committee. Her daughter is in the choir concert at Enid High, so we want that, so that's
Yes,
exciting.
we-
As soon as we're done here, I'm gonna run over to the choir concert at Enid High. So, and there are some others in here that are probably gonna do the same. So I am filling in for her. Before I forget, Bible school craft workers are needed, and this can be grown-ups or youth. June 13th through the 16th, 9 to noon. This room will be transformed into Bible school. We've all seen it. It's amazing, but we do need craft workers still for that. So, okay, now I'm just going to report for the SPRC. This is the exciting part. We just have good news, good news, good news, good news. So this is the fun part. This Sunday, May 22nd, our new organist will be here. We've been talking about it for so long. Devin Turner is his name, and there will be a reception during the Sunday school hour to welcome him. I can't wait for you to meet him. I can't wait for you to hear him. He's amazing, so that's exciting. Pastor Devin is starting his MBA program this July with the North Dakota Wesleyan University. It's mainly online, and it is completely paid for through scholarships. So it's just a great opportunity for him, and we're just all proud of him to further his skill sets. So that's exciting.
Can I interrupt for just a minute?
Yes, yes.
If Devin needs tutors, do we have volunteers to give him? I'm just
I was
saying.
going to be calling you.
Sorry, just had to.
For sure, you're in.
You got voluntold.
We have hired Austin Miles, this is a new position, and this is exciting for upstairs, to be our children's ministry assistant. He'll be helping on Sunday mornings, and he does have experience with special needs children, so this will be the great asset that's needed up there. just to help out with that situation. We have some of that, and so we're going to be ready for it, and he is going to take that on as part of his job description. It'll just be Sunday mornings. He'll still be working, helping with the sound booth and the slides and stuff too, but during the Sunday school hour, he will be up with. Another good news, Brian Shuey will be our modern worship team coordinator. So be sure to thank him when we see him. Been friends forever, and of course he's going to do this. You know, he's just so willing. And so that's exciting that he'll be the coordinator of that. And that's going well. He's already been doing it, so it's very seamless, really great. Now, finally, as a council, we need to talk about this item. It is exciting, but we do need to approve it. It has already been approved by the SBRC and the finance, but this is the exciting part. As our church continues to grow, the need for additional pastoral leadership has grown. With our DS's recommendation, we will begin partnering with New Hope United Methodist by sharing the leadership of Pastor Nathan Oney as our associate pastor. Pastor Nathan, yes? Okay, I don't think we need we don't need a motion and a second. I think that was it. We're done.
Good.
Now, let me go ahead and share with you. Pastor Nathan will continue to serve as senior pastor at New Hope. This will be a part-time appointment through the DS and the whole deal. It'll be approved next week at church conference, annual conference, so this will be 10 hours per week. His compensation provided by us, I'm only sharing the things that I have to share to this church council, is $7,975 a year, which is basically $8,000 a year. This has been approved by SBRC, Finance, and most importantly, New Hope United Methodist welcomes the idea. So that's only good news. We just need to approve it. I think we just did, but I will turn it back over to Anna to make that official. So SBRC, all good news.
Do we have an approval for Nathan?
Move to approve.
Move.
Okay,
Move to approve.
all in favor, we're good, Nathan, yay!
Yay.
Oh, okay, I was like, yes.
You don't need to gossip for a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, you can.
I was going to ask him to leave the room, but since we all applauded, I think we did. That's
Yeah,
fine.
it's
Well, we did ask him to come here. We did ask him to come here in case there were questions too, with the reality that, you know, this is a new thing. This is sort of out of the box.
And then you mentioned at finance that New Hope won't find out about it till Sunday. Is that
that's,
correct?
I'm so glad that we shared that. So it becomes official for both churches on Sunday. The news is shared. So if you run into somebody from New Hope, just pretend like you don't know anything.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Or anyone from anywhere, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, that was brought up at finance, I just wanted to make sure that,
Devin made an announcement video.
We did.
Well, we recorded it. Devin edited it all together. It's going to be very professional. Very, very good.
Sure.
awesome, we're excited, welcome. Trustees,
Next, already?
church meeting.
Church.
Already.
Already.
You-
I would say for a while. First of all, when Devin sent out the notes for this meeting, he sent out a maintenance and improvements 2022 March update. And there were some things that were marked on green that show some of the things that we're doing now, things that have been completed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Since then, things have changed a little bit. They always do, it seems. Our past chair of trustees, the other day, I asked him, do we ever get ahead? And his answer was, no. You don't ever get ahead, and you need to plan for the things that are coming. You can't plan for some of the things that are coming, and they're just gonna come and get you. Okay. So, our last trustees meeting, I made a list of all the different things that we're doing right now. There were 10 or 12 items on there, and none of them have been completed. They're all still in the air. For a lot of different kinds of reasons, but they're all in the air. Most of it has to do with supply. Okay? So going from there, I'm going to sort of walk through the different things that we have and where we're at on all of these different issues. Bear with me. If you have questions, jump in, okay? You don't need to raise your hand, just jump in and say, hey, what's going on here? Okay. One of the things that we had started with a long time ago were locks. And it was a part of the security. We have finally got all the locks in. Finally. We have finally got in the pieces that we needed to put over some of where some of the locks are, because we're going to change where some of the locks go. So all those pieces are now here. Now it falls to 4 or 5 of us to go through the church and start putting on the new locks. What that means is that once we finish, we will have a 1-key system that will unlock everything here, okay? And that's kept basically in a lockbox, so you can't get to it, but we can lock ourselves in if we had to for security purposes. So, okay. They're here. I have no idea yet when our group is going to meet to start putting in all the locks, but it will be, I have been told that it will be within the next month. So I'm told a lot of things sometimes that don't happen quite that quickly, but I've been told. Okay. On the list, it has the organist office. That's all been done. I looked at it the other day. It looks nice. Looks cool. Next, roofing. On here, it's like the roofing is completed, and it's not. We had a major problem, miscommunication between our adjuster and between the roofing company. James, our building superintendent, told both the adjuster and the roofing company that our roof is very different from the roofs that they're talking about, and both of them ignored him. Okay. Our roof has a taper in it. Because the roof has a taper in it, the roof has to be built back in a certain way. The roofing company finally discovered that and said, we can't do this because there's got a taper in it. And of course, James went, duh. I mean, you know, anyway. We now are back on track again. We had a new adjuster that's been assigned. He's been out here, he's looked at it. He's now talked to the roofing company. I would think that we actually, again, I've been told, we may have a real roof completely done, completely finished within the next month and a half. Cross our fingers, everybody, because we're talking contractors. And having been an old contractor, I can tell you, cross your fingers. Okay, all right. Next, this is a big deal. I don't know that you noticed, but we have no water to the middle part of this building. It's gone. You know, you think that you know where everything is when you start digging for the new playground. But we didn't know where the main water line came in from the street, okay? So we hit a gusher and we shut it off. And that's if you walk by outside, you're seeing there's some digging being done right now. They originally told us that it would only take 3 days. It's now been 5. I think I sent a thing out to the trustees saying that we would get it done in a week. My thought is right now we may have it back in 2 weeks. I talked to the plumbers today. They had dug the hole at the standard depth of 2 feet. Henson came back and said we wanted it 3 feet instead, so they had to go back and redig the hole to 3 feet, and then punch another hole into the church where we're going to run the line to hook everything back up again. And they got the drill stuck and they couldn't get it out. Now, they did get it out this afternoon, but there are things that just happen in construction. And it, you know, but we're on it, we're working on it. At some point it will actually be done. I'm guessing that maybe by the middle of next week, we will actually have water back to the middle of the building. All right. Again, things just come up and you go, what? Where did that come from? Okay. One of the pushes that we've had is to get numbers inside of each one of the rooms for security purposes. If we have to lock down, right? You may not remember the room number that you're in, so we're going to put numbers inside of the rooms also. Unfortunately, the individuals that made all of our room numbers have retired. So we now have, I sent out and asked and requested for a bid for new room numbers. Hopefully I will know something about that in the next week or so. Our elevator contract, we canceled our current elevator contract with the company that we were using. We invited new bids that would start in July 1. And we have a new company. I will probably sign the documents next week with this new company. This is going to save us about $400 to $500 every quarter. And it's a better company, and they don't try to upsell us all the time. The company that we have now has told us that our elevator is awful. I've been told by many sources after doing a lot of phone calls that our elevator is in great shape and all the parts are available, and it's one of the best elevators that was ever made. Yeah, so it's amazing what you do, what you find out when you start calling people and going, is it that bad? And they're going, who told you it was bad? This, you know, it's just sort of amazing. Okay, so you keep on going. All right. One of the things the trustees have decided to do, because, and I will tell you, there are some things that we've had to put on hold that we had talked about that you all had told me that you wanted done. Some of those things we've had to put on hold. One of the things that we were looking at originally was to get a new van, a new people mover, not a van, but a new people mover. Our building superintendent, James, did a lot of legwork and found out that we don't need to be shopping for a new people mover for probably another 4 to 5 months because there aren't any that are available because they're waiting on parts. We looked in the secondary market. What we have now is better than anything that we can find on the secondary market. So we've sort of moved that to the back for a while. We'll get back on it as soon as that we know that there actually are some people movers that are available that we can look at to purchase. One of the other things that not only you, but other members of the church and my trustees have said to me was we need to look at the boiler. Maybe we need to replace the boiler. We've had 2 different companies look at the boilers. One of the companies who I go back a long way with, probably 35 years, said, I'm going to stick my neck out and tell you that this boiler is going to last for at least another 12 years. Because of that, we've moved the boiler down to the bottom of the list for right now. In addition to that, we've also got pricing for the boiler, and we have an actual fund that will cover most of that boiler replacement if we need to do that. So, one of the other things that was a big one on the list was parking lot. We want to redo the parking lot as soon as possible. I've walked the parking lot just like everybody else has walked the parking lot. Unfortunately, we still have a roofing company that's going to be using this for a staging area, and Henson Construction is using the parking lot for a staging area also. We've moved that back. We've moved that down to the list until we get the playground done, until we get the roof done. As soon as we get both of those done, we will move on the parking lot. Let's see. Next thing, we have a rental here. Everybody knows that we rent North Jefferson, the property over here. They have a sagging floor in the entryway. We're landlords. We need to serve the people who pay us rent. So we have an individual that's coming out to take a look at that, again, that James found, and they're going to come out and take a look at it and tell us what the costs are. But as soon as we know, we're going to replace that floor. Okay? Just because we have a liability issue if we don't take care of that. Two last things. I haven't given up on us having, as a church, first aid training and defib training for the entire congregation. One of our trustees is now talking to Life EMS and the fire department to find out when we can set up training for free for us as a church to come and participate. I just want to beg you, I literally beg you, when that training is offered, please, please take it. All right. Last thing. Again, one of those things that you never know what to expect. A couple of weeks ago, the fire alarms went off, and we found out that the fire alarms don't cover the entire building. Oh, yeah, really? Huh. Now, there was no problem with it was a false alarm. But we found out that the fire alarms do not cover the entire building. In fact, only people heard the fire alarms in one part of the building. Okay? To me, that's a huge safety issue. We have a company that's coming out and telling us what we can do to make sure that if a fire alarm goes off, you can hear that fire alarm anywhere in the church. That's it, that's my report. Are there any questions? Is there anything I missed that you had questions about? Super, thank you.
Okay, everybody pull out the page with the numbers. Should be in that little packet. Okay, so this last Tuesday, we had a finance meeting, and if you remember, the approved budget for 2022 is right at $792,000. So on Tuesday, we had January, February, March, and April, basically a third of the year complete. So we're getting a whole lot more accurate photo or picture of what's the year's looking at. If you look on this report, about a quarter of the way, a third of the way down where it says total offering income on the left, and on the far right it says 33.05%. That's good. We're at a third through the year. We're at 33.05 in total income. And then down at the bottom, the exact same scenario. We looked at the expenses and we're at 33.74 there. So we're tracking numbers-wise really pretty well. Vicki does this report, and I say it almost every time I look at it. Vicki does such a phenomenal job with this. This is kind of a snapshot of about 15 pages that we actually look through, but this gives everything on one sheet. Good news, we've paid apportionments to date. On this report, if you look top left-hand corner, it talks about Christmas and Easter offering. Our Easter offering was almost $7,500 this year, which last year at this time it was $2,400, so that's very good. We're still watching, if you look on the left-hand side, right in the income where the non-pledged, and then move to about the middle of the page where it says 2022 year-to-date, down there is $20,047.48. Last year it was $45,331. So we are still watching and monitoring that. We knew that that would probably come into play, but we're just watching that. We talked a little bit about that. They're down a little bit, and we kind of knew that would be the case. But overall, really, finances are tracking exactly kind of where we wanted them to be, and we're in good shape. So, any questions money-wise? Okay, thank you.
Yes, big missions.
Yes, I'm mission.
Okay.
We're so lucky. We just
I know, I love this. I like some different people.
Test tracks.
No test. Well, I'm doing my day job. Can we get one more? Absolutely. I have a few more. Does anybody else want some?
Oh, wait, you did give us.
It's not a
I
test.
apologize, we don't need it.
Anything you need. You guys want some more? Okay, it is. It's a quiz. I will be putting a grade in the grade. Oh wait, wrong job. Sorry, wrong place. The missions team. Sorry, this is driving me crazy. All right, I feel better now. The missions team is alive and well. Robin Newby, where is she? What a blessing this angel is to me on a regular basis. She has opened her heart and taken care of Open Your Heart for, I don't know, a lot of months now. And thank you very much, Robin. So Open Our Heart is where we're going to start. We just finished with collecting children's books, and we collected over 150 children's books that will be given to 4-year-olds to take home for the summer, that a lot of them don't have books in their homes. We're collecting for the Commons now, bingo prizes, and the lady that I talked to said that if there's somebody that's feeling blue, they kind of think about what she would like and they drop it by, or what he would like and they drop it by, and they use them as kind of cheer me up gifts as well too, not just bingo prizes. June we'll be collecting for Foster Feet. Marcia Scott is very involved with that organization. And then for July, we're collecting for Youth and Family Services. So you can watch for those lists. Our communion rail for June is Peace with Justice. In July, we're going to collect for missionary. It was Anna McGehee, and I know that's not who it still is. She has a different last name, but we'll be collecting for her. And then in August, disaster relief recovery that is specific to Oklahoma. There is a group now that does that, and that will be our communion round for August. Welcome table, Melissa tells me that we still need servers for Sunday. That got all changed around, so we are definitely gonna need servers for Sunday. And then she is gonna be sending around a sign-up sheet for your Sunday schools or small groups to sign up from July through November, to take a month to head that up for us. And that's still, this church has done such an amazing job to keep that commitment from month to month. It's a neat thing. Our visioning book that Devin had us read, it talked about looking ahead 5 years and even 10 years, and not being reactive but proactive. Look at what we can do if we plan ahead, and Melissa is amazing at keeping us on that. And so the survey, so your comedy relief is that, did you even know that the stapler would put the staple on the wrong side? Because I didn't.
Come on, you know that was school's count. School copiers, you know they do crazy things.
I mean, you couldn't, hey, I couldn't do that again if I tried, but guess what? There it is for you. And also Vision does have an extra I in it, just because I felt that was fun. But I did take it out, so by the time this rolls out to the congregation in June, Vision will not have that extra I, and the stapler will be going on the right side. I am hoping, I didn't even know I could do that. So comedy relief there. But that is the missions. We are gonna use the information that we get from this survey to look ahead and see what we can do to continue that serve. I think that all of our groups feel like that the serve in this church is amazing, and I'm just looking at all you faces, and no wonder it's amazing. I mean, the people in this room are amazing people. But we want to make sure that we're looking ahead and continuing to keep that strong, and so we're going to use the information from the survey to make some long-term plans with what we get. And I'm hoping that part of what we get will keep us headed towards project transformation. I would really like to see project transformation back in this building, but it's going to take somebody besides me to help make that happen. So I'm hoping that that will come back and we'll get some interest on the survey. And the survey will be out with a QR code. I swear I brought one, but a QR code will be released, and there'll be paper copies stapled on the right side, no extra I, at the welcome desk in June and July for those things to happen. And the QR code will go out to Sunday school, so you guys can maybe do that as a Sunday school sometime this summer. Take some time to fill out the survey. And that's what these are. You're welcome to keep them as souvenirs of what you can do without even trying. Any questions about missions?
Can I be educated? Is it standard practice to have the stapler on the right side now instead of the left? When I taught business, it was on the left, or it doesn't matter?
Absolutely. It is not standard practice. It is supposed to be. No.
Oh, okay. Got it.
No, yeah.
No,
I
just
completely messed that up. And when I pulled them off the
just wanna learn, be up to
copier,
date.
when I pulled it off the copier, I thought, I don't even know how I did that. But yes, it should go in that.
Did we remove the required names at the bottom?
No.
Okay, well, it says optional on the name, so I just didn't.
Oh, optional. Yes, I think you must have an old copy.
Okay.
Because the copies I made today with the staple on the wrong side, is your staple on the right side?
Yeah.
Are they those will say optional?
No, I
And
feel
we
like-
want the name to be required, and I took off the optional,
Yeah,
and
because
now,
Mine has optional.
now
we
you
don't-
have
we
to
don't
put
want-
it in.
We don't want people who are gonna give us a bunch of ideas and not do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So I took that off, and the survey won't close till they type their name in now.
I'm gonna put on the other.
Anything else? Except don't let me make copies.
See, into school. See, into school.
You should see what middle schoolers do the last 2 weeks.
Okay, so Jenny Scott is triple booked. She had a retirement banquet, this and the previously mentioned choir concert, so I'm reading for her. This is for our Reconciling Ministries group. The Reconciling Ministries began informally meeting 3 years ago and have established our mission statement as: the Reconciling Ministry celebrates every person as fearfully and wonderfully made child of God. We welcome and affirm persons of all sexual orientations as well as gender, racial, and ethnic identities and expressions. We seek to listen and learn how to be better neighbors to every member of God's kingdom. We began initially with 2 book studies in an effort to discern what the Bible says about sexuality, especially studying context. In early 2020, we began taking steps to become an official committee within this church, as well as an affiliated member of the Reconciling Ministries Network. Currently, our meetings take place the 3rd Sunday of each month in room 225, or the David classroom, directly after the 2nd service, and we usually have 1 short devotion or reflection, followed by activities aimed to educate or encourage members of the First Church community. We have developed a logo, which can be seen on our banner and t-shirts for when we participate in community events such as the Pride celebration. Our first official event was a coffee held during Sunday school hour in, I want to say 2020. We shared some of what we had studied, personal experience, as well as some resources. We were scheduled to take a group photo and submit our mission statement in April of 2020. However, we were prevented from doing so by the pandemic, which also forced us to pause our meetings for a few months. We resumed our meetings in 2020, and last October, we hosted a prayer walk in the chapel. This event invited the congregation to prayerfully reflect on biblical passages and listen to who God is calling us to be as a church. Our most recent event was the Safe Zones training. This training was presented by a local advocacy group as a time to ask questions, learn terminology, and examine some of one's own misconceptions and biases. The goal of the training was to better understand the barriers of our LGBTQ+ neighbors may experience. Finally, on May 1st, we were able to take our group photo and submitted our mission statement to the Reconciling Ministries network. This network helps people who are looking for a church home that is welcoming and affirming, and now we are a part of this network. So when someone goes to look for that, they will find First Church of Enid on that list. Our next event coming up will be to host Sarah Cunningham, who is the founder of Free Mom Hugs, at a church-wide potluck lunch. I believe in October that will take place. She will share her story of learning her son was gay and how that affected her relationship with the church. So we've got a lot of exciting things going on. That's the report. Does anyone have any questions? I'll let Jenny know what they are. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
What great reports tonight. It's exciting to see all the good things that are going on, and greetings to all of you out there in the virtual land. I wanted to first of all thank Anna for serving tonight. You're doing a great job, and I know that was kind of last minute, but thank you for being here and doing that. I'm looking forward to next week when Devin and Casper Earl, Don Bruner, and John Scott and I will attend annual conference in Oklahoma City. First time in 3 years. And it should be a great opportunity for us to learn and network and be around a lot of great Methodists. So that'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. And we look forward to bringing back to you what we learned and did and all the great things that are going on in our conference. I think Chris mentioned Devin's schooling. I am so very proud of him for doing that, and I just admire the fact that he wants to get his MBA, as we're calling it, and that's a big undertaking for someone in his role, and it's a huge commitment. And I know as a church council and as a congregation that we're ready to step up and assist him in anything that he might need while he's committed to his schoolwork. And Krista's the same way. She's been working hard on her schoolwork too. I have attended several meetings in the last couple of weeks, and finance and trustees, and I will tell you that we have raised $432,000.
37.
Excuse me, that's changed since Tuesday.
Yes.
Right? Okay, $437,000 towards the $450,000 goal for the playground, which is great. And we feel like
That's close enough. The trustees can just do the rest. All in favor?
No, I've already, just for your information, I've already committed to the finance committee that we would cover whatever's missing.
And I think we're in a good place with that. I do feel like, and we discussed this in finance, that the donations for the playground have not affected people's normal giving. So that's very important to hear that message and to share that message with your Sunday school classes and small groups. So last time I told you about a person that had come into our church and that came to our Sunday school class that didn't really look like us. And we reached out, and as a church have just really been so kind to her, and I think she feels like she has a very supportive church family here. Her name is Donita, and she has been here every Sunday, and except 2, and 1 she was not feeling well, and then last week, you know, gasoline's expensive, and so I think it's just a challenge for her. So she's able to actually watch it online. We've done a couple of things for her as a congregation. We helped her. She moved into an apartment. She was living at the Salvation Army, and she's moved into an apartment. And so we took, in our Sunday school class, we were asking her what she needed, and she didn't need much, but she said she had a box springs, but she needed a twin mattress and bedding items. And so we were able to take care of that, get a twin mattress for her. We had one that the children had finished using from college and the such. And so Troy put it in the back of his pickup, and I brought it to Stations that night. And then after Stations, I took it over to her apartment. And during the day, Leslie Clam had brought some bedding, and I picked up some bedding, so she had fresh bedding for her new bed. And went to her apartment, and there was one of the other people that lived in the apartment that helped us unload it. And I didn't go in, I just let her, take it in. But she was ever so grateful, and she was so excited to sleep. And she sent me a text the next morning and said she rested really well. So we don't often think about a clean bed, but she was grateful for that. And then she told me that she needed a sofa, and Leslie Clam had mentioned to me that the ABC Sunday School class had some funds and was willing to help if she needed anything. So Chris Marcus to the rescue. So Chris was so I reached out to her and told her if we could find one maybe at Park Avenue Thrift or something, we'd keep looking, and no one seemed to have one, extra right now that they were ready to get rid of. And so she found one at Park Avenue Thrift, and she was so excited. She texted me and said, I found one. I don't know how long it'll last. And I said, well, Chris will be in touch with you on Thursday. This was on Tuesday. And she was really excited, so I reached out to Chris, and I told Chris, and I said it'll be at Park Avenue Thrift, and she's there now, but we'll, you visit with her on Thursday, it'll be great. And so Chris said, I'm going down there right now. I paid for it. So
I ran it disappear.
Isn't it not just, that sounds so like Chris. So when I went, I was a little uncomfortable, like going in her. I just didn't want to, make her uncomfortable with me going in. Not Chris. Chris goes in. Chris takes a picture. He has a picture sitting on her sofa.
And we had to move it in, so I had to go in there. So I took a picture of she and I on her sofa.
And it was a hide-a-bed too. So heavy hide-a-bed. So Chris, thank you for that. And I mean, he was sitting on that sofa just like they were best buddies. That speaks a lot about our congregation and the way that we're able to share with those that don't look like us. So thanks everyone for that. And I know a lot of people know what she looks like now. I know Melissa showed me, I think on Mother's Day I was having a hard time finding her. I had a card for her. And Melissa showed her to me. So anyway.
Bring a guest one day.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's her son and daughter.
She has two children, yes. A daughter that's here in, am I taking too long?
No, I'm sorry, I was coming over here
Oh,
for
okay.
this car. I didn't mean to.
Sit down. She has a daughter here in Enid. She's 20.
Stacy.
And
Stacy.
the son is in
William.
Garber?
In Garber. And they're both in group homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
I didn't mean to rush you. That wasn't like
I
the,
probably need
Sure.
a liturgist.
That was-
He's gonna be like, no.
that wasn't like the music has started, so now you got to stop. So lots of exciting things that have happened over the past few months, from the groundbreaking of the playground to one of the things too that wasn't mentioned was the new LED screens in the sanctuary, which I think have made a huge difference in what people can see and participate in.
Oh, my son noticed those immediately. He
Yeah.
was like, Mom.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I probably started thinking, I got to get my Xbox up here, right? Yeah.
He did. I was like, I don't know if they're doing
It
it.
makes a huge difference online when you're being online also.
Yeah, yeah.
Huge difference.
So that's exciting. We will have church on the lawn Wednesday, June 1st. I'm still looking for a group, if they want to do some food for that. We will invite Scoops to come back out and do some ice creams and popsicles and stuff like that. And then, Nathan and I are talking about maybe in July doing church on the porch over at New Hope, so that we can kind of, begin this partnership, because that's about the time that we'll officially start this. And just excited to have Devin come in to join us. He's moved in, started playing the organ this week, so it was nice to have that open back up and, getting that going. So come and join him and meet him at 10 o'clock. And then, expect him to remember your name. Because excited to have Brian Shuey stepping up as our modern worship coordinator. And we've got a lot of great volunteers from singing. This Sunday, you might notice we're starting to build a string section, not on purpose, but people are inviting friends. And so if you know of a violin player, we could use one. And we're doing a little bit of experimenting with our worship to where the worship services will never lose the blend, but one service leans one way a little bit more than the other. So the early service is a little bit more traditional and low-key with the band, and the second service is exactly what we've been doing. And timing-wise, too, it works out for, you know, the people who are doing double duty on Sunday morning is the band. And so trying this out to see how this works, and it's worked well so far, but would love feedback on that. And just excited to have Nathan coming to join us here in July to help out with pastoral care. He's already doing Bible studies with us, and so this just makes it a little bit more official. And then worship leadership at 9 o'clock, and then he'll go over to New Hope and do worship at 10:45. The good thing about this is I'm excited to have Nathan come and join us and give voice, but also you know, we won't lose the liturgist, having a volunteer person in the second service, and this makes it a little bit more realistic in terms of a commitment. So if you've thought about being a liturgist, but you're like, I just don't want to commit to both services, we have a solution.
There we go.
Yeah. So, but lots of exciting things. But I do want us to continue to remember these coconuts on the beach, the things that kind of keep us, you know, reeled into the reality of who we are and where we're headed. When we talked about our vision, we talked a lot about Nehemiah, and Nehemiah, you know, came back to help build the walls of Jerusalem, and the people had really kind of lost their way, lost hope, and then they, you know, made this new covenant with God to be reminded of where it is they were headed. And it's up to us to remember that covenant, to continue to talk about it in our small groups. And so, you know, with that in mind, we're always a work in progress. I think, as Bill indicated, we have a lot of work in progress, but it's so much exciting work. All of them are really, really good things. One of them being funny with the fire alarms. That happened to be the day that I was going to be doing chapel for Learning Tree, and Batman does chapel for Learning Tree. So I had my bat suit. I come out of my office, and the fire alarm starts going off. So I thought I was going to be fighting crime. And then
Did the fire blow?
I don't know. I was just in a blur. I was like, well, I don't know what's going on at this point. And then another exciting thing is the Learning Tree program just continues to expand. Ginger will be adding another class. The boat room up on the 3rd floor, which you know, has kind of collected dust and become kind of a room that really, when you walk in there, you can stand in there for about 5 minutes before your allergies start to go off. And so that will become another one of the Learning Tree classrooms. But this is a great problem. We have some really, really good problems to address. But as we work and continue to work in progress, one of the things I would invite you to do with your small groups between now and the next time that we meet, and I really want to encourage you to do this, is the handout that I gave you as some of our reports were given, which looks similar to the other one in terms of the C, study, serve, share, and send, but it does have the results of what you all shared in the previous meeting as your top gifts. So if you'll look there, 20 of us identified C, 11 of us identified study, 22 identified serve. That seems to be the top one at the time. Share is 7, and send is 1. And so, you know, got some work to do when it comes to training up leaders. Now, I had the staff do a similar thing, and so the number next to that is our staff results. I'm sorry, did I not share that with you guys? Sorry about that. I have some extra copies. The staff shared that 6 of them feel like C is one of their top. 0 shared that they had study, which I thought was interesting because there are, Bible study leaders. Serve, 2, share, 6, and 2, send. And if you put all those together, our top gift is to see. That we feel as a church that we're able to see and affirm each other and affirm others that look different from us and act different from us. And that's a great testament. Our second one would be serve. And I think that's true whether you talk about missions or you talk about these committees and the hours that these people are putting into this. Share, well, that's our third, sharing the good news. Studying, 4. And that's, kind of an interesting thing because I've had on several occasions people like yourself tell me, hey, we need more Bible studies. Well, show up to the Bible studies that we do, so. And then send, we've got, some work to do with training up leaders. And so what I would invite you to do with this list is to take it back to your small group and ask them, and I'll, send this to you in an email, ask them, what does this mean for us? How are we going to improve in the areas we need to improve? And how can we celebrate the areas that we're doing really well in? This is not like oh man, we should be disappointed with how we're doing. We're always a work in progress. But I think that we just need to keep remembering these, the coconuts. Amen?
Amen.
All right, any questions before I hand it off to Anna and let her close us out?
Any old business that needs to be discussed? New business? Lots of exciting things going on in the church. I will say I walked by the other day, Sue Smith was working at the desk when I was coming to finance, and she said that we'd had a lot of calls that morning, people in need. And so we might keep that in mind as well.
A lot of gas vouchers.
Is that what we're needing?
People are asking for gas vouchers.
Okay, because gas is crazy expensive, and for people to be able to keep going to work.
And talking about Sue, I got a phone call from Sue, maybe 2 weeks ago, from somebody who had called from Oklahoma City whose sister lived here, okay, and had a major leak in her roof and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Sue was going, well, and I'm saying this because it occurred to me, and I guess everybody needs to be aware. I told Sue, I said, I don't have the phone number, and I don't know where I was, but anyway, somewhere where I couldn't do anything other than answer the phone, and I said, Sue, call RSVP.
And they might be able to.
And RSVP has a program that is also hooked in with CDSA. They were able to go over and cover the roof.
Oh, good.
And then CDSA is going to come back in and put a roof on. But there are links.
There are other options. Yeah.
There are other options, but they're all linked together. And I always look at, whenever we get calls like that, RSVP is the wheel, or it's the hub of the wheel.
Okay.
So call RSVP.
RSVP. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention our committee talked last time about the blessing box. We've got a way that we are taking care of that, and it is, we are working at it, but it empties as soon as you fill it. And so any of you that are driving by and can throw some stuff in there, it is taken care of, but it's not taken care of.
It just seems to continue.
Right, we could pour stuff into it and it would still go. And I know over the summer, a bunch of my students are walking the downtown streets because they go to the library. And so they'll be swinging by here and picking up stuff. So if it enters your mind when you go to the grocery store to pick up something that you could throw in there and then drive by and throw it in there, especially on weekends. Church will be closed on Friday, I believe. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it could sure use some people to stop by.
Yes.
I have a case of food.
Anna, could you use gift cards towards the gas?
I would think you would be able to use gift.
I mean, I don't know.
I would think those Visa, like gift cards.
I just didn't know how you all.
There's a fund that we have for gas vouchers.
Okay.
So the best way probably to do that is if somebody wants to give a donation specifically to that. That's the ministry that we help out with. And then for anything else, we have the resource list that we often recommend people to places like RSVP. And,
That's good to know.
you know, the idea is if we can all cover a little bit of something, hopefully people can find
What they
their
need.
way.
So can we put a gas voucher in the memo line?
Mhm.
If we'd like to know.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's great. Anything else? All right, I'll close this in prayer. As we close this meeting, Lord, we want to give honor to you. Thank you for the time we had to discuss issues and make decisions. May you bless each person and be with them throughout the rest of the week. Amen.
Amen.